up, guys? Welcome into the Big Friday Kickoff podcast. I'm your sports director, Emily Cochran. This is my right-hand man, the digital producer, the sports producer, every kind of producer, Robert Ristaneo. We made it through round one of the playoffs. 28 teams took the field last Friday. Heading into round two now, and we still have 17 teams on the hunt here in Region 1 for a Blue Map Trophy.
Yeah, and, I think some regions, which we could talk about here in a minute, probably surprised us a little bit more. Some maybe let us down a little bit, looking at you 2A.
Womp womp.
But, nonetheless, we've got teams alive in all classifications except 2A. And, looking ahead to this week, I think we feel pretty confident in some of the teams that we got going forward, especially in some classifications. I think we've got some teams headed for a rematch of, regular season games that they had, whether it's Jackson St. Michael, Viger Williamson, so definitely a lot going on. I think round two should be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I'm really proud of how many teams made it to the next round. I was doing the numbers, a little more than 60%. That's awesome. I would have to compare it to last year, but I think that this year's numbers have increased.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at last year, but 17 feels high, so 17 feels like a lot. So,
it's a lot of games. We have 6 home games, from, Region 1 that we're covering in our area this week, but we're also going to be getting highlights from our sister stations, and it just seems like going into the next round, we have still a lot of moving parts as far as, building a show and getting ready for Friday night.
Absolutely.
So, super excited, and, of course, congratulations to all our teams that advanced, and also congratulations to all of our teams that had a great season but did not make it out of the first round. We won't get into all that, but we do congratulate them on a great season.
No
so
doubt.
Do you want to go ahead and let's dive into 7A?
Yeah, let's do 7A. This is kind of the region of the week, right? I think most people have kind of been, one of the big stories has been Region 1, all 4 teams advancing to round 2. I went back and looked at it. This was the first time it had happened in 7A, so yeah, we're not used to that with the big dogs, are we?
We're not. We're absolutely not. And I think we talked about it last episode. This was the best opportunity I think that 7A Region 1 has ever had to make it out of the first round of the playoffs, because they were matched up with Region 4 out of Huntsville, which typically were matched up with Region 2 or Region 3. So this was the best opportunity for our 7A teams. They went out and they took care of business. And so we still have all of our 7A teams headed into round 2. This is a completely different story in round 2, though, as far as it goes for everybody who's playing this week. Daphne and Fairhope both were on the road last week. They get to come home and host this week, and then MGM and Baker are actually going to be on the road. So it's flopped. So we are going to be at both of those games. Hustle and House Sherrick's going to be out at Daphne for their game with Auburn. That's sure to be a good one. I know he's excited to go out there. I'd say that's probably one of our biggest games that we've got going down this week.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I think if you look at the 7A slate, we talked about it last week too, but being able to play the other... There's 2 very strong regions in 7A, and there's 2 weaker regions, and we got to play... We're considered one of the weaker regions, and we got to play the other weak region. Mm-hmm. And I think it was maybe Florence's coach or Austin's coach, somebody, maybe it was Sparkman's, honestly, but one of them said after the game that, we're not used to that kind of speed that we saw with the Region 1 teams. And really, when you look at it across the board, Daphne won big, MGM won big, Baker won big, Fairhope had the closest game out of the 4 of them. And so, it did kind of feel like Region 1, not yet on the level of Region 2 or 3, but kind of separating itself from Region 4 a little bit as, clearly the 3rd best region. I think if we had to run it back, I think we still would probably sweep Region 4. So this week a little bit different, though, like you mentioned, because now we're playing all Region 2, Region 3 teams.
Yeah, very, very different story this week. I think out of all of our teams that are playing this week, I think that, like I said, Hal's game being one of the bigger games, they're going to be Daphne's going to be taking on Auburn. Both teams are 9-2 on the season coming into this one. I think that Daphne, out of all of our teams, stands the best chance to make it out of round 2 based on who they're playing. I think Baker also probably has a pretty good chance going up against Opelika, I believe. But, yeah, this is just going to be a very important game for Daphne. And I think it's also important to note Auburn last week, they were down 21-0 to Vestavia Hills.
Yes.
Came back and beat them 52-41. And then Daphne, on the other hand, beat Sparkman convincingly. I mean, 43-14 in that game. And so I just have a really good feeling about the Trojans and where they stand going into this week. I think that they have a leg up with their quarterback play. I feel really good about Christian Seeger and what he's been able to do this season. They have one of the biggest offensive lines in the state. I mean, those guys are huge. I think their average height is like 6'5". So,
yes.
I mean, they're really tough on the offensive line. And they got a lot of really good weapons on offense at running back and wide receiver. So I feel really, really good about how Daphne's offense looks. And I think that's a cool thing because Daphne King, their head coach, is particularly a defensive guy.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
he played defense at Daphne, then played defense at obviously Alabama and in the NFL. So to have a defensive-minded head coach that's really put together a high-power offense, I think is a really cool thing, and I feel good about the Trojans going into this one.
Well, and one guy that we talked about, all season, one guy that you've been really high on just because of his story is Christian Seeger.
Mm-hmm.
And, this past week, I mean, I think he showed why he's been one of the best passers in 7A, 20 for 28, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. LeBraylon Williams had 5 total touchdowns, 3 catching, 2 rushing. It just felt like the Daphne offense, it felt like Seeger was operating at a high level and all the weapons kind of showed up. C.J. Gardner had a good game. Scoop Miles, he had a good game. So, running back Braden Knight. So a lot of these guys really showed up. And I think for Auburn, granted it was against Vestavia Hills, who was the number 2 team in 7A, that they were able to come back and beat. But I think Daphne can put up points with them. And I don't think, I'm not sure how much the Auburn defense can slow this Daphne offense down, but it's hot right now. And I think if this is another high scoring game, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, overall, I feel good about this one. These two teams, it's not like they've never played one another before. This will be the 7th time that they've played one another. Mm-hmm. Auburn does have the edge in this one. It's 4-2. That's where that record stands. But they have not met since 2020. So it's been a minute since they've played one another, but not like they're unfamiliar with each other.
Sure.
So I think that's going to be something to keep an eye out on in this matchup. Yeah, I really, like I said, I just feel really good about where Daphne's at and what they can do, and I just have a good feeling, coming out of, Daphne to me, based on seasons past, they have looked really good this season. I know that they did go in as the number 4 seed, but, I mean, we've talked about it. I think there's just been improvement across the board from all of our 7A teams this season. I just think every single one of our teams leveled up.
Yes.
And I think that showed coming out of the first round, all of them advancing into round 2. But this is not a very different story. It's going to be difficult. Even though I think that Daphne could get the win over Auburn, there's some other teams that are going head-to-head in 7A this week that I buckle up.
Yeah, so, I'd like to just real quick stay on that side of the bracket because I think the 2 7A teams that have the best shot from Region 1, the best shot of winning this week, is probably Daphne and Baker. Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy because you forget 7A is 1 round shorter than the other regions. And so
there's not as many schools.
No, right, exactly. And if these 2 teams win, they're going to be playing for a spot in the Super 7.
Exactly.
So, Daphne and Baker, I think, could easily advance to the next round. Baker's going to have to travel to Opelika. Opelika has not made it out of the second round since 2021. They were 8-3 this year. And right now, Baker, the connection between Tate Graham and Katori Marion has been hot for about 5 weeks. Jalen Wheeler, Speedy, our guy, he has been lights out for basically this entire season. And so, you look at Opelika last week beating Hewitt Trussville 27-21. I think they're going to have their hands full with Baker's offense. And, Baker's defense has played well as of late, so I don't know. I feel pretty good that either Daphne or Baker or both will make it out of this round this week and advance to the semifinals, which we haven't had, I don't think, since MGM 2 years ago with Jared Hollins?
Yeah, I mean, MGM, and it's funny because typically, like, Fairhope and Daphne are the two, like, historically, like, powerhouse programs down here. But since Zach Golson's kind of stepped into that, the head coach at MGM, this is his 4th season there. I mean, what he's done, and I've said this time and time again, what he has done at MGM is incredible and crazy. What he's been able to do in such a short time. A program that was 0-10 before he got there. I actually read about something today because, MGM is going head-to-head with Thompson.
Yeah.
And you probably know this, but whenever Golson got the head coaching job at MGM, like, he knew what he was trying to build there. And it's really hard to, take a program that's 0-10 and kind of elevate it from that. He's done that. But he reached out to Thompson's head coach, Mark Freeman, who has had a ton of success at Thompson. I think that they just won his 5th state title since he's been there, or maybe 4th, and then he's got another one because he also coached at Spanish Fort, so he's got one at Spanish Fort as well. But he did reach out to Mark Thompson. They're old friends, know each other well, and he saw what he saw what Mark Freeman did at Thompson, and he wanted to replicate that. So they went up to a practice up at Thompson and took notes and just kind of saw the ins and outs of it in Zach Golson's first year. And he's kind of taken that back and brought it back to MGM, and look what MGM has done. I think it's also cool that when Mark Freeman took over at Thompson, that team was 0-10.
Yep.
And then you've seen Mark Freeman do what he's done there. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. Both of these guys obviously have a close relationship. Both of them very big on their faith, and that's how Zach Golson talks about it all the time. It's like his program is really centered around their faith, and I think that's very similar at Thompson with Mark Freeman. So this is going to be an interesting game. I know that Thompson's really, really good. I understand that, but, I mean, if you're Zach Golson with MGM, like, you've kind of mirrored your program off of what Thompson does. So it's not like you're unfamiliar with the ins and outs of what they do. You've kind of said, okay, this is the building blocks I want to use to build my program, and that's what Zach Golson has done. So it's kind of like mentee-mentor type deal, going head-to-head this week. But, I mean, MGM, for as strong as they are going to have their hands full with this Thompson team.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, here's the thing. I mean, the MGM defense has been great all season. And I mean, even last week, just giving up 7 points to Austin, who, regardless of what you think of Austin, being able to hold a 7-8 team to 7 points in the playoffs is no easy feat. Thompson, it's interesting. The last 3 seasons, I guess, they've lost 3 games in the regular season twice and 2 games in the regular season once. 2 of those 3 years, they finished with a state championship, and the other year they finished runner-up.
Yeah.
So Thompson comes in this year, 7-3 in the regular season, wins last week. They look like they're doing exactly what they do every season, which is like get through the regular season, get yourself to the playoffs, and then they crank the heat up on everybody. So, yeah, like you said, MGM's going to have their hands full. I think they're going to be playing a Thompson team that the tape on them may be hard to study because I think that they're playing at such a different level once they get into the playoffs. They beat Carver Montgomery 31-7 in round 1. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough task for MGM, but I think as much as I feel confident in Daphne and Baker having the best shot to advance to the second round, if I had to pick any of our teams to go against Thompson or Central Phoenix City, it would still probably be MGM.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're a veteran-led defense. I'm pretty sure they've got 11 senior starters on that side of the ball. They're only averaging like a little over 14, like allowing other teams to score a little over 14 points a game. So they are going to need that defense to be at its best on Friday because Thompson's going to give them everything that they have. Mm-hmm. So, upset alert,
hey,
maybe we'll see. Like, I would love for MGM to continue to keep fighting through and continue to make history. And if they beat Thompson this week, that would just be a historic moment for MGM and this team. Now, I thought this was pretty cool. These two schools, they've only met one time, and that was back in like 1949.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool. They haven't played in such a long time, so it's just going to be a cool matchup regardless. And just anytime that MGM gets a test like this, they get to test themselves against such a powerful, talented team. I think it's a really good gauge of like where you are as a program. Because to me, I would feel good even if you lose. If you lose to Thompson by like a touchdown, or maybe, let's say that maybe they lose by like 10 points. Like, I would still feel confident as a program going up against a team like Thompson and coming out with like a close game. If you're going to lose, at least keep it close. Don't go out here and get blown out. And I'm just really hoping, number one, that MGM wins, but number two, if they do lose, I would really like for them to keep it close.
Yeah, no doubt. And we shall see. You know, I mean, 2 years ago when they got to the semifinals, they ran into Central Phoenix City on the road and only lost that one 21-7.
Yeah, so, it wasn't like a blowout or anything like that.
They don't now. That year they had nothing against Jeremy Manhinnett. I think Jared Hollins was just a much more talented quarterback that season.
Well, yeah, I mean, also Manhinnett's coming from playing at 2A St. Luke's and coming in and playing at a 7A school. Like, he's done great.
And
with that.
He has, on the flip side of that, the weapons that he has this year with Cam Smith and Jaquinian Allen and DJ Broughton are probably much better than what Hollins had his season there at MGM. So they're used to going into some of these heavyweight teams and giving them a good game. And so, you know, I don't think you can count MGM out. I just think it's going to be a very, very tall task for them.
Yeah, I would 100% have to agree with you on that one.
Now, bottom of this bracket, which MGM could possibly get the winner of, is our Fairhope Pirates against Central Phoenix City.
Yeah, this one is going to be a tough one. I mean, Central Phoenix City, they're the number one team in 7A in the state. They're such a good team. I mean, I could see if I had to pick some besides any of our guys, I had to pick somebody to win the whole thing this season. I could see it being Central Phoenix City. I mean, they're just so good. I mean, they beat Hoover, who's another powerhouse in 7A up there in the Birmingham area. They beat them 34-10 last week. I mean, that's when you get into the playoffs, we typically see we see much closer games.
Yes.
I think at least from what we've seen this season here in round one, a lot of our Region 1 teams, the teams they went up against, I mean, they were blowing them out.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't matter if they were our number 1 seed or number 2 seed. Some of our number 3 seeds did advance.
Yep.
Obviously, number 4 Daphne advanced, and they, put a beat down. So, yeah, Fairhope of all the teams is going to have their hands full. I need the Pirates to hoist the sails, hold steady. These are treacherous seas you're going up against Central Phoenix. What are they? The Sun Devils, Red Devils?
Red Devils.
Red Devils. Yeah, it's going to be a Red Sea with some devils on a sea. Like, yeah, I'm telling you, but
I'll give Fairhope just a little bit of hope here. Trey Gardner played very well. Their offensive line, very big, very physical, has a couple D1 guys on the offensive line. And their front seven has been great against basically everybody all season. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
They're going to, pop us in the mouth if they go out here and beat Central Phoenix City.
I hope they do.
I genuinely, that is what I hope. But I don't know if there's any hope in Fairhope this week. I love Tim Carter, and I love the Pirates.
She also loves that joke, clearly.
I think I'm funny, thank you very much.
You are very funny.
In another life, I could have been a comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyways. No, I really do. I hope the best for all of our 7A Region 1 teams. I mean, it's such a big week for them coming off last week to make history like this. I mean, that's a feat even in itself. But I know all of them want to advance to the next round. You play all season for this moment. You're trying to get to a Blue Map trophy. So I can imagine that they're going to go out there, every single one of these teams, and they're going to give it everything they have. It's not a week to have a down week at all. You're going to have to show up and bring your best because we are matched up with one of the most difficult, I think across any classification, one of the most difficult set of teams, in my opinion.
So yeah, that's 7A. You know, it's cool that we have 4 7A teams to talk about here in round 2. You know, and 2 that I think we both think have a legitimate chance of getting to the next round, and 2 with good to not so good chances. Let's look at 6A. So 6A, we had 2 teams advance. Our top 2 seeds, right? Saraland, Theodore.
You want to talk about game of the week first?
Yeah, so our game of the week is going to be Spain Park at Saraland. This is a rematch of the 3rd round game between these teams last season, where Saraland won 45-19. A little bit about Spain Park. They've got Brock Bradley returning, who is the leading passer in 6A this season. And Saraland struggled for about 5 minutes, I guess, with Wetumpka last week, before really just blowing that game wide open. They ended up outscoring them in the second and third quarter, 35-0. After it was 10-14 at the end of the first quarter.
Isn't that the most points that any team has put on Saraland this season? Like, before that, it was Gulf Shores, and it was like 14 points.
You know, you may be right. I didn't look at that, but that probably is true.
I've been keeping up with that. I mean, Saraland, like, they'll put up a lot of points, but they don't really allow anyone to score on them. I mean,
right.
they're doing the right thing in every phase of the game, but I just think it is important to note that, like, the most they've allowed was the Gulf Shores game, and Gulf Shores only put up 2 touchdowns on them. So, like, that's 24 points they allowed. And I know how Jeff Kelly is. He's competitive. He doesn't care that they won 49-24. He's probably looking at the fact that, like, 24 points, guys, seriously.
Right.
But so yeah, I think that this is going to be a good matchup. I think it's also, here we go, fighting with the mic this week.
Keep hitting the mic.
And we've talked about this a lot, but Saraland, you know, that home field advantage means everything, and they also they're going for their 40th straight home win.
It's crazy.
They have won 39 straight games at home. They haven't lost a game at home since October 2020. That is crazy. That is a crazy stat to even think about. And it's funny because I talked to Jeff Kelly today, and he said that that's something that the guys aren't even thinking about. Like, and they're the type that they're not thinking about the record. They're not thinking about any records, like what their record has been on the season. Any of those things. They just take every single week as it comes, and they focus on that game. And I just think that Jeff Kelly runs such a tight ship at Saraland. And I don't even, there's not like a college program I could even compare it to, just because Jeff Kelly is his own type of guy. He's very unique and particular, but clearly he's got the recipe for success because his teams win. And it doesn't matter what group of guys he's got, because he's got a different quarterback this season.
That's right.
And Jamison Roberts has just come in and kind of picked up where KJ Lacey left off. And then you've got the Duke commit, Deshaun Spencer, who's really just like come on the scene this season for real and is just playing lights out at receiver. So, and then you've also got PJ Brown at running back. Isn't he their lead running back, the transfer from Mobile Christian?
Yes.
Super, super talented. I think he's their leading rusher. So it doesn't matter what pieces Jeff Kelly's got in his arsenal each year. Like I think it's his ability to coach and get and have these teams ready to compete week in and week out. And I think that goes into preparation. And he feels really good about how they've practiced and prepared this week. Dacian Smith will have your Game of the Week preview tomorrow or Friday on Big Friday Kickoff at 5:30. And then, of course, we'll have your extended Game of the Week preview show on the Fox 10 Gulf stream. And we'll get to hear what Jeff Kelly, everything he had to say when I went out and spoke to him today. So, yeah, definitely tune in for that.
Yeah, no doubt. And like you said, Saraland, it's a little similar to Thompson, right? Where you just know that once they get into the playoffs, regardless of how well they've played during the regular season, it's going to be a totally different animal, especially at Spartan Stadium, and especially against a team that they played last season that returned a lot of those players. I just think they're going to be ready for the Spain Park team. And,
100%.
You know, Spain Park may put up some points, but
and they got a good quarterback. He's committed to Clemson.
Yep.
Brock Bradley, and you you're not just signing anybody to go play football at Clemson. Like,
No.
I know Clemson doesn't look like the Clemson of the past, but I mean, I still think like you've got a D1 offer to go play at a big time program. Like, you're not just some
No.
Joe Schmo. Like,
That's right.
you're a good player. So that is one thing that Saraland, their defense is going to have to watch out for. I think that Brock Bradley and Jamison Roberts, they kind of have pretty similar numbers. Like, if you look at their stats, Brock Bradley's completing 69% of his passes. Jamison Roberts is completing 73% of his, which that's crazy, like crazy accuracy for a high school kid. And but Brock Bradley kind of has the edge in his passing yards over, a little over 2,500, and then Jamison Roberts is a little over 2,100. So I'm trying to look at their TDs. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much very similar. Brock Bradley's got 28 and Jamison Roberts has 26. So if you look at their numbers, they're pretty similar with what they've got stats-wise.
Right.
So I think this is going to be a pretty cool quarterback battle that we're going to get to see on Friday night. So I'm really, really looking forward to this matchup for sure. I think Dacian's going to have a good one.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Speaking of another good one, hopefully, Theodore, our other 6A team that advanced, will be taking on Benjamin Russell, the number 4 ranked team in the state. They're led by quarterback Kingston Prayer, who some people may remember has been the Montgomery Catholic quarterback the last season or two when they basically never lost. Cedarian Morgan, number 1 player in the state, Alabama committed receiver. B.J. Bedgood, another receiver they got, who is a top 50 player in the state. This is going to be a game where Theodore, behind Krishan Overton and Kendra Cable and a little bit of J.J. Bush sprinkled in there, is going to try and run the ball, and Benjamin Russell is going to open it up and throw the ball. And it is going to be which style wins out. Benjamin Russell's really, really good, and I think Theodore is running into a tough matchup here, but if they can play their way and their style, I think they got a shot in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I have faith in Theodore, and I think that now that they've gotten a taste of this since Steve Mask has been there and like getting this win, and I remember listening to him talking after the game and his post game soundbite that Hal got when he talked to him after the game, and you could tell that Steve was fired up about that win.
Sure.
And I think that translates to the team. I think the guys were feeling that way as well. I mean, it was just a really good performance all the way around.
Yeah, Krishan Overton had 6 touchdowns last week.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was looking because me and Hal were just talking about this because he came up to the station today, and we don't get to cross paths very often because he's always over in Baldwin County. But he talked about this game because we were talking about Player of the Week stuff and how hard it is to pick each week. And Krishan Overton was a player in particular that I was like, man, he
Absolutely.
had a heck of a game. That probably was his best game of the season.
Yes. Yeah.
I would say so because every time we talk about Theodore, we talk about their run game and what they do that way. We're not talking about Krishan a ton because they don't use their passing game a ton, but the game that he had in the first round of the playoffs, I mean, that's when you show up.
Yep.
And he showed up when the lights were the brightest. And if he can continue to do that here in round 2, I mean, Theodore, they've got a shot. We might see a Theodore-Saraland matchup again this season, which we've had before.
Yep.
I think that's maybe happened twice since I've been here that they've met in the playoffs again. So, I mean, I feel good about Theodore and where they stand. I think this could be a good one Friday night.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of star power on Benjamin Russell. So if they can stand up to that, then I think they got a good shot. Let's move on to 5A, another region where we got 2 teams that advanced, Williams and Viger, 2 teams that I think a lot of people feel will meet again in the semifinals to go to the finals.
I went out and shot both of those games last week, and like to get to see both of them play, like the talent for both of them, it was special. Yeah. Like Friday night was really special, especially Williamson. I mean, watching them play is like nothing I've ever seen before. Well,
let's get to Williamson in a second because I just want to say, Viger got a tough draw right here. Northside, number 6 team in the state. They have the 2nd ranked offense and the 2nd ranked defense in all of 5A. They're 11-0 on the year, have outscored opponents 544 to 116. Now, granted, last week was their first playoff win since 2021. I like the pedigree of Viger and the experience of Viger. But this is not going to be an easy game, especially one that they got to go on the road for.
Yeah, I mean, holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, Viger's defense is going to have their hands full with this one.
They
But,
are.
I mean, Viger's got talent. I mean, Jabarius Gare is a name that comes up week in and week out. Could easily be a player of the week candidate every single week. He's just going to need to be at his absolute best going head-to-head with them. Sammy Dunn I love watching him play.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so poised and so calm. And, like, watching him play is one of the coolest things ever. Like, I just feel like he had such a good game Friday night. And but another thing is, like, that game was close when I left at halftime.
Yep.
I can't remember if it was like 19-16. I think when I left, they were going into the locker room. And, I mean, they came back and beat them
40 to
16.
Yeah.
Like, Charles Henderson, they didn't let him score another point in the second half.
Yeah.
Because when I left at halftime, I was a little concerned because it was so back and forth. And I was just like, okay, like, Viger's really letting them hang in here with this one.
Yeah.
And then to come out and do that, to not let them score a point and then do that and finish with 4, like, holy, like, Williamson and Viger are two teams that I love watching play offense, defense, all the way around.
Yeah, and they were getting a lot of guys the ball, like, Dylan Jackson, Garrett Holcomb, Jabarius Gare was getting snaps on offense. I mean, they were doing a lot of funky stuff to get guys the ball and get their athletes going out in space. Demetrius Johnson at running back. So, I think I like Viger, but this is definitely a tough matchup for them. But like I said, they're used to the playoffs. They know this stage. They know the stakes. I think the pedigree probably carries them through here.
I would say so, and I also think that in 5A, like they've also been tested. Like they went up against Williamson and kept that one close. I believe
22-14.
I mean, 20, and it was in overtime.
Yeah.
So like, and Williamson's the number 1 team in the state in 5A. I think is Viger still number 2? Like,
Yes.
does the rankings change in playoff stuff or?
Yeah, they do, but I don't think I don't believe Viger got jumped. They've been to
What's
they've been to all year.
Northside ranked? Are
6.
they okay? So
Yeah.
I mean, I just think. But this is like the best part about the playoffs is you're really getting to see some of like these really cool matchups. These two very, very talented
right.
teams getting to go head to head. So I'm looking forward for this one. I think that if Sammy is on his his best on offense, you got Jabarius Gare doing his thing on defense.
Yep.
I think that like those two, their names we talk about every single week. If they show up ready to play, I think we're going to be just fine. Sammy Dunn. I just want to read out some of his stats because I keep in touch with Coach May. He sends me their stats each week for Player of the Week stuff. He completed 16 of 22 passes, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, you got to have that type of performance here in round 2 as well against, I think, probably a much more difficult opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, and just another quick guy that I wanted to shout out on that defense. He was a preseason all-region player for me. Spoiler, I'm doing some region teams right now, so coaches, please put your stats online because I rely on those.
Max Preps is always wrong.
Yes. Isaac McNeil, linebacker, he just picked up another D1 offer from NC State. He's got a handful of them. He's been playing great this year for that Viger defense. Really, him and Gare coming off the edge. I mean, those guys have just been awesome. So a name that doesn't get shouted out as much, but Isaac McNeil, he's had a great year. So, I think that defense shows up, and I think that they take care of business. A little less exciting because I think we both know what to expect in this one, but Williamson will be heading to Eclectic.
Excuse me?
Eclectic, Alabama for their game with Elmore County. That is the name of the city.
Eclectic?
Eclectic.
How'd you figure out how to say that? Did you Google the pronunciation?
It's spelled Eclectic.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna touch that one. I'm gonna be for real.
Eclectic.
Okay.
That's-
You ever been there?
No.
What's it close to?
I don't know. Elmore County, I guess.
Is that like so is it Montgomery?
Oh,
is it
I don't know.
Birmingham?
I have no idea.
Okay. That's an interesting one.
I have no idea. But this team, they are unranked. This is their first playoff win since 2011 last week, talking about Elmore County. They beat Demopolis in overtime in round one.
By a point. 21-20.
21-20. They, I don't know. They've got a pretty good quarterback, Gage Davis. He's top 10 in 5A in passing. 7th ranked defense, 27th ranked offense. Williamson's on a roll right now.
When I left Williamson's game, because I went to Williamson first, so I came back from St. Michael, went straight to Williamson because I had a feeling like they were going to start running up the score. I think when I left at halftime, it was like 20-0.
Yeah, and
I was like, okay, this is just the beginning, and they ended up beating Eufaula 50-14.
Yes,
so. Williamson, this is the thing. Williamson, we talk about Williamson's defense. Like, if Williamson's defense is just so good, and I haven't seen anybody, be able to do any damage to them. And if you look at it, they shut out so many teams this season. UMS Wright put 10 points on them, Viger 14, and then Eufaula put 14 on them.
Right.
So there's only 2 times this season that anyone has even put up 14 points on them,
right.
And that was obviously first round of the playoffs. If they just keep doing what they're doing with this defense, and their offense is good too. That's the thing. We talk about how good their defense is. Their offense is good as well. I think I'm picking Williamson to win the 5A state.
See
blue map. Like, all I see is blue map trophies in Williamson's future, which would be awesome for them because I don't believe they've ever won a state championship.
No, I don't think so. Have they?
Okay, maybe not since 1965.
Okay, well, there you go.
So,
modern.
Your grandparents were winning state titles.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Maybe would that be? I don't know. But
shout out to Todrick Withers in this game, running back for Williamson. We talk a lot about Alvin Dinkins and John Austin and these receivers that they got, but Todrick Withers, 29 carries, 231 rushing yards last week against Eufaula. So
that's the thing. There were so many good performances in round one from our players down here, and it made it so hard to choose player of the week this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, we just have so much talent down here, and that's honestly another thing that makes the best part of covering our guys down here. There's just so much talent in our area.
Yeah. And speaking of talent in our area, 4A, undefeated, just like 7A, completely swept round one.
Yep. I think we both had a pretty good feeling about 4A. That was another region that I felt like, okay, if all 4 were going to come out, I could definitely see it being our 4A teams. I had the most faith, obviously, in St. Michael and then Jackson. I knew no matter what, I thought those 2 were definitely going to advance. So to get all 4, shout out to our guys.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome. Because, we've talked about, we don't have to be objective anymore.
No.
We're just pulling for our teams, and we're
it.
pulling for them hard. So to see them win, that's just such a good feeling. We did go out to St. Michael for Big Friday Kickoff.
Yep.
Their game against Pike County. And we just had such a good time out there. It's also the first game since the time change, so it gets darker a lot sooner, and we had to go through some rain.
Yeah.
But we still just had a great time. We had 4 guys join the set, and it's 4 of the most talented players in the state, in my opinion, especially when it comes to offense. Brody Jones, Noah Moss, Gunnar Rivers, and Tucker Tomlinson. They all got to, they got to hang out with us, and we did interviews with them before the game, and it's just so cool to hear them talk about this team and the confidence that they have, and the belief that they have, and what they can do, and just the confidence, and they're also, all of them, shout out to them, so well spoken.
Oh yeah,
kind, well spoken, respectful, and I know that also comes from good parenting, but also the program, being around that program, I think it says a lot about the coaching staff, and also the guys on the team holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
They're just all really, really good kids. So we had a blast out there, and when you get to interview Phillip Rivers, who potentially he's going to be an NFL Hall of Famer, quarterback for a long time in the league. That's a really cool experience too. So all in all, we just had a blast out there. And then they go out there and they put a beat down
I was about to say,
on Pike County.
I think Noah Moss also had a blast on the field. I mean, that's our player of the week.
Yeah,
and
368 rushing yards,
good Lord.
16 carries, 6 touchdowns. You know, he had, and the thing about it is 15 of those carries were in the first half.
Right.
That 16th carry was in the second half. And he broke a 4A state playoff record for rushing yards in a single game.
That is crazy.
That is insane. And he's committed to play at South Alabama. So I know that Jags fans have to see how he's been playing this season in particular, because he is a senior, seeing him play this way. And I know that's got to make Jags fans excited, but it also makes me wonder, like, his recruitment.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's got to be, that's, to me, watching him play, like, that's SEC caliber talent.
He's
like,
good.
the numbers that he's putting up, like, he's just, yeah, he's getting it done on the field for sure. And you get to find out, I hope you watch Player of the Week this week. If you haven't, it's on our website. And it's also going to, it'll be up on our website. It'll run again tonight, but we will have already recorded this by the time it runs again. But just such a humble, nice kid. And I can't say that enough. Like, he just continuously gave credit to his teammates. And, like, they really are. Like, yes, they're talented. Like, the players we've talked about, they're so talented standalone, but them together, like, the unit that they are, especially on offense, is just unstoppable.
Yeah.
And so I think that this week going on the road, taking on Pleasant Grove, this is a rematch from last year. They beat Pleasant Grove, and so that's something me and Phillip Rivers talked about, that team, Pleasant Grove's not going to forget that. Like, when another team knocks you out of the playoffs, like, that leaves a mark. And so I think that's something that could play.
They can remember it all they want. This game will not be close.
Okay, I was trying to be nice.
I just St. Michael. This team's playing on another level right now. And shout out to Noah Moss's mother. She messaged us over the weekend because we got to interview Noah after the game. She wanted the interview. I sent it over to her. So that was very cool. He was very well spoken after the game, like you said. But this game will not be close. I think St. Michael will take care of Pleasant Grove fairly easily. I mean, Pleasant Grove came in 3 seed in their region, 6-4 overall. Mm-hmm. I don't see this one being a game. I mean, I think we could probably not spend too much time on this. One game, though, that I do think will be interesting.
Before we move on, I also just want to mention Pleasant Grove hasn't missed the playoffs since 2011. So
impressive.
I mean, that's like
they've got some pedigree, yeah.
They've got some history on their side but that's the thing is, like, St. Michael, even though their program is so young, like, what they've been able to do, it's just it's insane. So that's just one little tidbit, little nugget that I wanted to mention before we move on. But do your thing.
Jackson draws Handley, who Handley, they've got a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. This team's 10-1 on the year, and I think Jackson is a team that, you know, we've both been really high on, and we both think there will probably be a rematch between them and St. Michael, but I don't think that they've necessarily blown either of us away very many times this year.
Well, they've had to deal with
a lot of injuries,
some injury stuff, and like some they're not the same team that they were last year. They're not that same team that won that 4A state championship last year. I'm not saying they still can't do it this year. I think that they could. I think that they're very talented. I think that it's just we're so used to the team from last year, and we held them on such a high regard. And when we think of them, we think of last season's team, but they're not last season's team. And and at the point we're at now, with the way high school football looks, no team is ever the same every year. Like, you have so much turnover and transfer portal, and you also have injury stuff that happens during the off season. So it's just, I still think Jackson has a lot of talent. They got a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you've got EJ Crowell. He's one of the number one, or one of, I don't know if is he the number one running back in the state? Is he the number one? Okay, I thought so. Just committed to Alabama, extremely talented. I've said it before. That is a grown man playing football with high school kids.
Yes.
He is.
Well, and that's the thing with them that you always got to remember. Like against Ashford last week, they won 34-0. EJ touched the ball 11 times and had 109 yards.
Yeah.
If their backs are against the wall, they could give him 20, 25 carries, and he's going to have 400 yards, and there's nothing anyone's going to be able to do about it. You know, they're using him, I think, very sparingly, intentionally, to not put so many miles on him.
Yeah. I mean, they want to keep him healthy. Like, you want to keep him in the...
Yeah.
You need to keep him in because you want to win, but you got to keep him healthy because you need him each week.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So...
but, yeah, I think they'll be fine, but this is going to be a tough game. I mean, this is one of the tougher games. I think this and Viger against Northside, these are two of the tougher games this week for some of our better teams down here in this area. But nonetheless, I do think that our 4A teams have another really good shot at all advancing, which would be crazy. I mean, W.S. Neal gets American Christian, Mobile Christian gets Bullitt County. You know, you look at either of those teams, that there is nothing about either of them that blows your mind that Mobile Christian and W.S. Neal couldn't get the job done, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. We are going to, W.S. Neal, I know it is like kind of far from the station. We are going to get to pick that one up this week. That was something I was worried about if we were going to be able to pick it up or not. We are. So shout out to East Bruton. We're going to be up there.
Yeah.
One of our photographers, Bo, is going to be up there shooting highlights of that game. So thank goodness for that one. That's the thing. I don't know if other TV stations have to deal with this, but like we have a lot of teams that are in our viewing area that are like so far from the station.
Yes.
And I'm sure that other stations have to deal with that as well, but I just feel like us in particular, like if you think about teams like Leroy, Jackson, W.S. Neal, T.R. Miller, Flomaton,
Yep.
like McIntosh, like you think we have so many that are, you know, pretty far away. I mean, heck, Fairhope takes like 45 minutes to get over there with traffic.
Yeah.
So I don't know if other states, I'm sure they do, but that's something we have to deal with each week.
Yeah. Just a quick note on American Christian that who W.S. Neal hosts this week. 35th ranked defense, 21st ranked offense, very middle of the road. I mean, they finished the year 7-4. I don't know.
That's the number one team in Region 4?
Yeah, which again, I mean, must be. Maybe that region just had a down year because they've got some pretty good teams in there. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm high on W.S. Neal. I think that they take care of business against them. And for Mobile Christian playing Bullitt County, this is just Bullitt County's third playoff appearance all time, and last week was their first playoff win in school history. So.
Uh-oh.
They're not totally used to this.
Mobile Christian is.
Yes.
I mean, I know they're in 4A, so this is different, but...
Right.
And when they were in 3A previously, so...
Bullitt County's going to run the ball a lot. They got a guy named Tykeus Wallace, who is a top 10 rusher in 4A and is also their quarterback. He's thrown for about 500 yards. I think Mobile Christian's going to key in on him, and I think that they're going to kind of take care of business here in this one.
I mean, I could see that. It looks like Bullitt County's 8-3. I think Mobile Christian's 7-3. So like similar records in terms of. I think that for us in particular, I think 4A just has tougher opponents.
4A is just very deep. Our 4 playoff teams are all very, very good.
It's like looking at strength of schedule.
That's right.
Like our strength of schedule in 4A, it's just different because all of our teams are just so talented. So I mean, Mobile Christian, they've gone up against two of the best teams in the state in St. Michael and Jackson. So they've already been battle tested. So you go into, you're playing against teams from these other regions. Like they've played some of their toughest games of the season. If they keep that in mind, keep playing like they have against those teams. Because it's not like they got blown out by either one of Jackson or St. Michael. They played well against Jackson and St. Michael. So, yeah, I mean, I feel good. W.S. Neal and Mobile Christian, I feel good about our 4A Region 1 teams.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, 4A looking for a second sweep in a row this week. Let's jump on down to 3A here because these are also some interesting matchups. So Bayside will get Randolph County. Mm-hmm. Randolph County has one of the best running backs in the state, Mo Winston.
Yeah.
Over 2,500 yards, 35 touchdowns. He is ranked 13th nationally in rushing yards, first in the state. And outside of that, that's about it.
If I could whistle, I would whistle. But I can't, so woo! Holy moly.
Outside of him, that he is kind of their whole team. And I think for a team like Bayside that's got such a good defense and the way their offense is playing right now, Randolph County's got the 27th best defense. I think Davis Barnett's going to have a field day in this one, and I think they have enough experience on defense with Billy Neal and that front seven and Monroe Parton and Noah Kane and all these guys that I think they're going to key in on this running back and, limit him as much as possible. And I don't think that Randolph County is going to have enough to be able to keep up with the passing of Bayside.
No, I mean, I agree. I think also Bayside came out and just had such a dominant performance last week against Houston Academy. I mean, beating them 46-7.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. Like, when you get to the playoffs, you think that they're going to be. I mean, I guess they're the number 1 seed going up against the number 4 seed in a different region, but it's still a playoff game.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? So 46-7 to me, that's insane. That is insane. But Bayside, that's another one of our teams that I think, and I don't think we've kind of talked about them, but maybe not enough. I think that they have the potential to go and win a state title this year.
100%.
I mean, they totally have all the pieces to go and win a state title in 3A. And I think it's another thing we've talked about is having a quarterback as your head coach. It is to me. It is such a leg up, and I don't want to take away from other coaches that have played at different positions. I think it's just different when you're you're not just calling plays on the sideline, you've been the one that's you're the one that's executing that offense, you're leading that offense. And I think from that mindset as a head coach, when you have that, I think that you see teams that have that and their offenses particularly perform pretty well, I would say. But I mean, it's also the same thing in Bayside. We've talked about their defense. So every phase of the game is working for Bayside.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, I'm going to call it now. I could see Bayside winning the 3A state title.
No doubt about it. Now, this next one. Sorry, I was pulling something up here because
no doubt about it.
I've got something good for this next one.
You got some good nuggets.
So Cottage Hill, right? Our other 3A team that's moving on.
Yes.
They get the pleasure of playing Southside Selma. Let me tell you a little bit about Southside Selma this year.
You were telling me earlier. I'd let the people know.
This is the 3rd ranked team in 3A. Mm-hmm. Not sure who the other two are that are better than them. Cole Moody. He is an 8th grade quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
He has thrown for 4,419 yards, which is 2nd nationally, obviously top in the state. 53 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He's got 3 receivers, Cedric Simmons, Derek Searles, and Michael Jose, who have caught 47 of those touchdowns. Michael Jose is a 6'5" tight end. Cedric Simmons and Derek Searles are both 6 feet. They've got the number 1 offense in 3A, the number 6 defense. His passing game is out of control. And
is he a Southside Selma guy? Is he from that area? Went to middle school? Do you know?
I have no idea. I mean, I guess he's technically still in middle school.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here all right, Region 1 coaches, y'all hear these stats?
Yeah.
You want to come play for me?
Yeah.
I don't need to encourage that, but those numbers, unheard of.
Yes.
Give me another player in our class that has
As an 8th grader?
As an 8th grader has those type of numbers.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That kid's going to the league.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's 3A, so I am a person that I keep in mind that your classifications, you're playing against a different level of competition, but holy cow.
Now, here's where I will give Cottage Hill a chance in this game.
Did you expect them to win the way they did this past week in round 1? Because I recall you being I don't know.
Who, Cottage Hill?
Yeah. Did you think they were going to go out this past week?
Yeah.
You expected this final score?
Yeah, I expected them to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, I expected them to win too, but I didn't think that they'd win 41-8.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I didn't think Wicksburg was that good.
Well, no, but 41-8.
Well, and this is going to tie into where I will give them a little bit of a chance. Caleb Metzner, Shadarius Tootle.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Metzner, 24.5 sacks this year, leads 3A.
Ka-chow.
This is a real pass rush.
Yeah.
If they can get after this kid and cause problems, their top 2 corners, Cottage Hills, and I know this because I'm doing all region teams right now, so keep that in mind.
Send us in your stats.
Yeah. Isaiah Thomas and Jaden Davis have 8 interceptions and 7 interceptions individually. That is a ton. They're opportunistic. And if you throw a bad ball, those guys will go pick it off. If Metzner and Tootle can get after this kid, they've got playmakers in the secondary that can pick him off. And I think Shamar and the offense is playing well enough that they can put up points. But they're going to have to turn this kid over a little bit, get after him, and hope that your secondary guys do what they've done all year, which is make interceptions and force turnovers. I think they got a shot. I think it's a very slim shot, though, because I think this Southside Selma team has been pretty dominant all season.
Yeah, I mean, undefeated, 11-0 coming into this one, 7-0 in region play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see how much they beat. Holy, have you looked at the numbers that they put up?
Yeah, the 76 points, yeah.
They beat Thorsby, which is the number 2 team in that region, 74-22. And then last week, I think you said it already, but Bullitt County 76-38.
Yeah.
And
they put up 73 times this year.
let me see what they're outscoring opponent. Did you say this already?
No, I didn't.
They're outscoring opponents 608 to 122.
It's ridiculous.
I've never seen numbers like this in my life. Like, what in tarnation? 66-0, 66-0, 74-0, 62-6, 56-12. The closest game that they had all season was against Thomasville. That was 22-15. And Thomasville's the number 4 team, was the number 4 seed in that region. And I think they lost last week. Yeah, sure did. 43-10.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I need to make some phone calls. Excuse me.
Figure out what's going on up there.
Well, yeah, what's been their recipe for success? Well, I know what their recipe for success is. It's this quarterback.
Yeah, whoever this quarterback is. And they've got a bunch of big receivers that go and make plays.
I mean, and where did all these kids come from? That's crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
well, these two, I don't know if they haven't played one another since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I was in high school. And Southside Selma won 20-6. They've only played each other twice, ever. And Southside Selma's got the win both of those times. So I'm excited to see this one.
It's going to be a fun one.
We're supposed to get highlights from this one, from one of our sister stations. I, for one, can't wait to see him.
That's right.
I'm just excited to see how this 8th grade quarterback plays.
I want to see it.
What's he? How big is he?
Yeah.
Does it say?
I don't know.
Can you pull up his rivals or on 3 or something? He's got to have some type of recruiting. Do you have a recruiting profile when you're in 8th grade?
I don't even know if they do classes that far back.
There's no way that you're putting up numbers like that and college coaches aren't. Is that region just bad? I have so many questions right now.
Hold on.
What? What, are you backtracking? Is something wrong? Is he not in 8th grade?
No, he's in 8th grade. He's 5'7", 150 pounds.
There's no way. I don't believe
Are we getting
it.
duped here?
We're being hoodwinked, bamboozled. Hold up. Wait a minute. What's his name?
Cole Moody.
Cole Moody. I'm about to find him on Instagram. I know kids look different when they got their pads on, but...
Yeah, no, this is him.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
You're kidding me. Hold up.
Oh, he's been a fever athlete. We need to talk to Rosie and ask her what the deal is with this kid.
Wait a minute. I don't know if I found the right kid. No, this can't be right.
Yeah, this is him.
There's too many kids named Cole Moody on Instagram. That doesn't help me.
Okay, let's
Sorry.
run through 1A real quick and wrap this thing up.
That's crazy. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm sorry. I was really just like awestruck by that whole deal.
Real quick, down in 2A, we did not have a team advance, so we can just go ahead and skip on down to 1A here.
But shout out to our 2A teams on a great season. So proud of y'all. Maybe next year.
Big Friday kickoff this week. We'll be out at McIntosh for their game against Maplesville. Demons, we see you. We have been wanting to come out there. We thought this was the perfect opportunity. So,
yeah, I'm excited for this one. I do have a little nugget on this one. They beat RC Hatch. Okay, coming off their win there. That was their 95th playoff victory in history of the school. So that means the Red Devils trail only Hoover and T.R. Miller in that category.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I thought that was a pretty cool, because, I mean, Hoover's a powerhouse in 7A. They have 109 wins in the playoffs. T.R. Miller has 97. And so both historic programs, Maplesville getting that 95th playoff victory. So I think that's pretty cool. So they're riding a high right now.
They sure are.
McIntosh is going to have their hands full.
And Maplesville also has the number one defense in 1A. Do you want to guess how many points per game they're giving up?
6.
2.5. So.
Wait. How does that even work?
They gave up
2.5, like safeties?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume a safety's in there somewhere.
Hold the phone. Oh my goodness. These stats this week. I always give you a hard time about the numbers because you always show up with all the numbers. But, like, that is also a crazy stat. Maplesville. So I talked to, when we went up to Leroy for Big Friday Kickoff, I was talking to Chan Lowe, the head coach there. And when I asked him, I mean, we talk about Leroy and how dominant they are and how good of a season they've had and this, that, and the other. And I've said that, you know, I could see them winning a state title in 1A, and I was telling him that when we went up there. And when he spoke about teams that give him concern, Mackenzie is one of them, and also this team that we're talking about going head-to-head with McIntosh, talking about Maplesville. So for Chan Lowe to say that at Leroy, that kind of makes me think, okay. Well. And
speaking of Leroy, they rolled in round 1. They get a 6-4 Linden team. I don't think that there's any question that we both think Leroy's probably going to roll again, and they're setting up some sort of a match with either Maplesville or Mackenzie to go into the finals.
Okay, I found their schedule in there. Okay. Fife, they only allowed them to score 6 points.
Yep.
Isabella, 7 points. Holtville, 14 points.
Yep.
Every other game they played, shut out.
Yeah. So McIntosh has their hands full this week. Now, I think the Demons with Braden Dixon at quarterback, Jaden Brown at running back, Josh Harris at receiver, they've got some offense to them. And beating Brantley was huge for them last week. This is a different kind of team they've got, though. I mean,
we are going to get to some of the players you just mentioned. We are going to get to have them join the set for live interviews at 4:30 on Friday. We're going to get quarterback Braden Dixon, who's a senior, linebacker Keontae Diamond, who's a senior as well. Cavante. Okay, yes, you're right. Cavante. I'm terrible with names, y'all. Like, I wish y'all could see me trying to read the teleprompter, trying to keep up. I got bad eyes. I'm getting old. And then wide receiver, free safety, Joshua Harris, who is a junior, who is also Coach Josh Harris's son.
That's right.
I found that out today. I did not know that. So, yeah.
So they got their hands full this week. I mean, Maplesville, that is a different kind of animal.
Yeah. I don't know what that was going on there.
But yeah, we will definitely talk more about that game as the week goes on. We'll be out there Friday for live shots during the 4 and 5. I have all kinds of good stuff for you all. As I mentioned, Leroy, I think we both think Leroy's going to roll this week, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, and then quickly, I just want to mention Southern Choctaw one of the best defenses in 1A. They beat Georgiana last week, 40-20, I believe was the final in that one. They get University Charter this week.
University Charter School.
Who, as the 8th best scoring team, 2nd best defense. I think this is going to be a really good game. University Charter finished 9th. Southern Choctaw was 10th. At some points during the year was as high as 5 at other points. Finished just outside the top 10. Charter has a very good defense, very similar to Southern Choctaw. I really like the Southern Choctaw offense. I think that they play weird. They're hard to guard. They do all kinds of tricky stuff on offense. I think this is going to be a really good game. But I also think Southern Choctaw, they're going to have their hands full with University Charter. So
We say that a lot, don't we?
We do.
Hands full?
Hands full. Well,
It's a good term.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you supposed to say? So
You got to have a lot on their plate.
they're going to have a lot on their plate, too. They sure will. Thanksgiving's coming up, all right?
A full plate. Full plate. A heaping. Heaping?
Yep. But I will say this.
Didn't you have a note about Sweetwater and all? Or was that McIntosh?
That was McIntosh.
Okay, my bad. Look, once we talk about all these teams, it starts to blur together, the numbers and the stats and who didn't make the playoffs since 2000 and who has and who hasn't. I got to keep it all straight in my head.
Now, I will say, University Charter, this is only their 4th season as a football program. Okay?
Interesting.
Larry Boykin for Southern Choctaw has coached there a total of 16 seasons. This is his 2nd stint. He's won 3 state titles there, had a ton of success. He knows how to win these kind of games. So University Charter, they're in kind of unfamiliar territory for them. This is familiar territory for head coach Larry Boykin. So Southern Choctaw, I think that's going to be a good game this week. We'll see how that one plays out.
Yes, we will.
All right, Emily. That's round 2 right there.
That feels like that went by so fast.
It's been we're at about an hour.
Well, I'm sad. You want to leave?
I think we probably need to wrap it up.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Again, y'all do not forget, we are going to be streaming on Friday night on the Fox 10 Gulf Stream. Make sure you have those push notifications turned on so that way you know when we're coming on to bring you all the highlights. We should have another pretty full slate of games this week. We're working with our sister stations up in Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, and then we're all going to be swapping highlights to try and get all of our local teams covered. Like I said, we do have 6 home games this week that we will be covering ourselves. Big Friday Kickoff is going to start at 3 o'clock. We will be out at McIntosh. The cheerleading squad is going to join us probably around 4. We'll be live at 3, 3:15, 4, 4:30, 5, and 5:30. Head coach Josh Harris is going to join the set at 5. Like I said, those players will be joining us at 4:30. Hal and Dacian will have their game previews. We'll have, like I said, live interviews, band of the week. It's just another great day.
All kinds of good stuff.
Another great day of Big Friday Kickoff, high school football, Friday Night Lights. It's a blast,
and we'll be doing Big Friday Kickoff until we got no one left.
Yeah, that is one thing we got to talk about. Is I wanted to keep going as long as we had teams that were hosting. So it's looking like we're going to have a really good shot,
Yeah.
And there could be, depending on who wins and loses this week, could be some really good matchups to look forward to next week as well. So
maybe a little live podcast at the Super 7. I don't know.
Oh man, you gotta get the viewers and listeners excited.
All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, should be a good week. I'll be out at H.H. Wiggins Field. For McIntosh, and McIntosh has been a supporter of this podcast, I think would be fair to say.
I would say so.
Yeah,
they listen. That's
they
support.
listen, which we really, really appreciate. So we wanted to obviously give you all
a shout
the
out.
Attention that you deserved by coming out there this week. So we are definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're super excited. I think that we, in the past have always had a good time when we get to go out to 1A schools because I think that the community aspect of it, like you really get to feel it
No
at
doubt.
places like this. This is our first time going out to McIntosh, but I'm super excited to go out and have this experience. Me and Nick and You're going to be talking to us through the mic, but
That's
you're
right.
going to live vicariously through us.
I always do.
You always do. Well, alrighty, y'all. On to round 2 of the playoffs. Can't believe we're already at this point. Flying
There
by.
we are.
Thank y'all so much for joining us here on the Big Friday Kickoff podcast. We will see y'all on Friday.